Senator Rush, let's pursue that point. Let's talk a little bit about bonding. That's been in the news over the last couple of weeks, actually the last few days even. And of course, this is the even-numbered session, so typically it's the session where we would deal with bonding bills. And of course, if our viewers are unaware of this, it requires a supermajority, 60% to pass both houses. Tell our viewers a little bit about where you think bonding's at these.
Well, the Senate did bring up its bonding bill. Prior to that, the governor had proposed a $1.4 billion, I believe it was, concentrating a lot on water projects, improving the quality of water in any number of ways throughout the state. And the Senate has responded with a $1.5 billion, Senate Democrats, for $1.5 billion bill and brought it to the floor. And we didn't reach the magic number of 41. All the Democrats voted for it, and Senator Carla Nelson from the Rochester area voted for it, but we couldn't reach 41. So the bill has been laid on the table, and we are now waiting for the House to act. We understand that, or the Speaker at least has announced that there's a $600 million bill that he is considering bringing forward. We hope that that will happen, and I believe if they reach an agreement on transportation and transit that is acceptable, not only to Greater Minnesota legislators, but to Metro legislators, which has a strong transit component, that we will be able to move quite quickly in considering a bonding bill and a tax bill. And I'm hoping that when the governor's folks offer some sort of compromise program, if you will, that it will also mean that we will get targets for our supplemental budget bill, which is in conference, and the bonding bill, and then what I'm most involved in is in the tax bill. We have yet to see details of the House bonding bill. The Senate bonding bill is right out there on the table. It did not pass. As I indicated, we fell short by one vote, but I'm hopeful that we will do better than that, and that we will have a bonding bill that can serve communities throughout Minnesota in extremely important projects that are statewide and also that have regional significance.
So, Representative Nornes, I think the ball's kind of in your court now, not your court specifically, but on the House side. What's your take on the bonding bill?
Well, some are wondering if we will have one, and I almost guarantee we will. Be very surprised if we don't. 600 is where we start. It's a negotiating process, so I don't know where we'll wind up with that total number. But where I see the bonding bill, as far as the priorities, my first priority would be the higher education portion.
Well, yes, of course.
I mean, this is logical. We need to take care of the state property first. That means fixing the roofs and air conditionings and the things that are really, that you maintain. It's just logical. So, and there's a pretty good price on both the MnSCU system and the university's request. So that'll take a few $100 million for as much as we can, and that won't cover everything. But I think that, for me, that's where I would start. And then there's many other projects, of course, that are important too. But we do need to take care of what we own. It just doesn't make sense to not.
I think also and I'll describe a project that I'm particularly interested in that we need to really be cognizant of is where state dollars leverage federal dollars. And I'm the chief author of a project for the PCA to continue the cleanup of the St. Louis River estuary up near Duluth, which has been a polluted site for many, many years, in which we have done an enormous amount of cleanup in that area. And it is in the bond, it's in the Senate bonding bill, and I think actually Representative Torkelson looks favorably at it as well, for about $12.7 million. And with that, we would be able to leverage some 40-some million dollars in federal dollars from the Great Lakes Cleanup Fund. And if that's the case, and we get those dollars now, then we are on track to have the what's called the St. Louis River Area of Concern that was designated as a polluted site a number of years ago, to have that fully cleaned up in about 5 years. And I'm very excited about that, but it's one of those things that if we don't do it now, if we don't do it this year, just like transit dollars, there are other communities, there are other projects in the Great Lakes that are just waiting in line to receive those federal dollars. So I'm hoping that that is one that is going to survive. Now, is it in my district? No. But is it important to me as a Minnesotan? Absolutely.
Representative Hilstrom bonding.
Yeah, I was going to jump in here because, it takes a majority of, more than a majority to pass a bonding bill in the Minnesota House. And if I'm going to be asked to vote for a bonding bill, I kind of need to see it. And the Speaker has said for over a week that a bonding bill's been done and the spreadsheet is finished, yet I haven't seen it. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what they're including. I don't know what they're excluding, and I don't know how they made the decision about what to include or what to exclude.
If it makes you feel better, I haven't seen it either.
Right. But if you're going to come to me and ask for my vote, right, I need to know.
And I think that will happen.
We are down to the wire. We cannot vote on anything on Monday. And so
the 23rd you're talking about.
Correct. Monday the 23rd. We cannot vote on anything. So we have to
And that's constitutionally.
Correct.
That's the voters are wondering what that's all about. That's not just people deciding this. That's provided for in the Constitution.
Correct. So we have to unveil a bill, we have to pass a bill, and we have to convince the people that haven't seen the bill that they should vote for it.
Then negotiate with the Senate.
Correct, and negotiate with the Senate. And if it is $600 million, what of Minnesota's assets are not going to be addressed? Because the amount that is being requested in bonding dollars is tremendous compared to the amount of money that's being allocated. And we can't lose ground. And then if you take and bond some of transportation, that takes up some of the bonding money. So right now, it doesn't look like the House is looking at a very big bonding bill. And if we're not going to fix anything, how are you going to get the votes to actually pass a bonding bill?
I would say the chair of the bonding committee has probably the toughest job in the legislature right now, making these decisions. Because, what is it, 4 million? I don't know what the, 4 billion is.
4 billion is the number we've
That's the
heard.
request in round
North
numbers.
of 4 billion.
Right, but-
So to decide the priority, and he didn't decide the 600 million.
Right,
You
but
know,
if he
but
told
he has
us,
to work within that.
but if he told us what he was thinking about putting in it, we could help him
Well,
to say,
I
you know
think-
what, you might get some people
Well,
if you put
I
these
think
kinds
that
of
will
things in it. If
that
you
will
don't,
happen.
To be perfectly fair, I've
Yeah.
been around, and you guys have a lot more experience than I do with this, but a lot of this stuff doesn't get done until the last week anyway. So the game isn't over as far as I'm concerned. The
But we usually
Republicans-
see both bonding bills in much earlier than the last week of session,
Well,
though.
we
Right.
certainly don't want to see it the last night of session like we saw some bills last
Exactly.
session. And
Absolutely.
that is not the way we should be legislating
You're
at all.
absolutely correct.
But the Republicans actually in the Senate did provide maybe a stepping stone in the right direction in a amendment to the Senate, the DFL Senate bill to put in $987 million into bonding, including the trunk highway bonds.
But many of your own members voted against it. Many of them
Many of them did. And you
Yes.
have to, Senator Rest, and I've never voted for a bonding bill up until this point, and you saw my green light on, and you
Yes,
know
I know
exactly
that.
why.
Yes.
It's important for me to have, there's one project.
Although
the
you
Highway
didn't
12
vote for the
project.
final bill.
You are correct.
You did
However,
vote for that other amendment.
however, you didn't vote for the $987 million either.
No, because we need
So-
we need 1.5 billion. I understand that.
The one thing I get very disappointed at, though, is when the governor's office decides they're going to launch out and say, well, Senator Osmek doesn't support Highway 12 bonding. And you know that's not accurate. I never said a word about anyone voting yes or no on the Highway 12 bill. So I think, first off, let's get to a point where we're going to actually be constructive. I think the 987, even after that bill, after we finished that day, the speaker was already saying, well, 987 actually sounds like a good number. So I think the compromise is starting. And there's always going to be, and you know this to be true, there's always going to be good projects that don't make the cut. I've got projects that didn't even get a hearing that aren't in that bill. So there's a lot of things that are worthy. We just have to prioritize them. And I think people have to also understand is that bonding is like a credit card in many ways. It's very similar to that. You are putting things on a long-term payment system. When you're,
But that's more like a mortgage. That's not like a credit card.
well, let me
Very different.
Let me explain. It's more like actually it's more like when you're at city council and you're buying a water tower. You buy the water tower with bonds. Why? Because you pay for it over time. And I think people on my side of the political aisle have to understand, and I've tried to explain that to them, that some level of indebtedness makes sense for Minnesotans because we can pay for these things as we use them. And I think my side needs to understand that, but also we can't necessarily run the tab up so far that we are having to put so much into repaying those that it starts to starve out other parts of the budget. So there's a balance that needs to be made, and I think we can move in that direction. I think the Senate Republicans showed with 17 or 18 votes, that's a large number of votes that if you went towards that, you're going to capture those additional votes you need to pass it off the floor.
Well, you know, we're not going to, the Senate Democrats are not going to negotiate with themselves. We're wanting to see a bill from the House. And
It has to originate in the House anyway.
Yes.
and it has to, and certainly it has to be a House bill. We can bring a bill to the floor and vote on it, and then we sit on it until we get a Senate, a House proposal. But the notion that we are spending more in debt service than we can afford, I think we have gotten a lot of information from the Minnesota management budget that we actually, the state, without pushing its credit rating, we now have recovered. After doing all of our repayments, we've recovered our AAA bond rating, and we could support a bonding bill, according to the analysts, twice as big as what the Senate proposed. I don't think we're going to get there. I don't think we could negotiate that. But we certainly can afford $10, $11 million in debt service every year as part of our infrastructure support.
I think that we have to look at our infrastructure, though, in terms of, so you're either paying as you go for things or you're allowing your infrastructure to crumble. And we are
Exactly.
not keeping up. And so you have to look at the balance sheet and say, I understand that you might only want to spend $600 million, but if you are losing more than $600 million in value because you're allowing your assets to deteriorating, you're actually doing a disservice to the state of Minnesota because it will be more expensive to fix it later. So deferred maintenance costs more. And so you have to find that balance of where do you stop passing on the deferred maintenance to our children. We have a responsibility to pay for what we use, and we need to leave the state better to the next generation. And if we don't take care of what we have, it won't be better, it will be worse. And so responsible budgeting means actually keeping the assets that we have, not allowing them to deteriorate, as well as building.
Asset preservation for Minsky and the university, I think, totals about $200 million. That's their request. And that doesn't probably fix everything either, but that's what they're asking for.
So if they need more than that, they didn't ask for it, but if they don't get it, that means they'll be losing ground.
Right.
And so that is the priority that we're choosing,
Yeah. And
right? Are we paying as we go, or are we leaving debt to our next generation in terms of deferred maintenance?